May I come in, sir? Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
How are you feeling today?
I am feeling very energetic and excited.
आप हिंदी बोलती हैं कि अंग्रेजी?
दोनों बोल लेते हो.
नहीं, इसमें क्या ऑप्शन दिया?
इसमें I have given English.
इंग्लिश दिया. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So where do you stay?
Currently, I am staying in Old Rajendra Nagar, but my permanent address is Bareilly,
Bareilly, UP.
UP.
Yeah. So what is Bareilly famous for?
Ma'am, Bareilly is famous for so many things. For example, it is known as Zari Nagari.
Zari Nagar. Okay.
And it is also known as Nath Nagari because of so many temples of Shiva. And also it is famous for kite strings, and it is famous for surma.
Surma.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a song also about Bareilly and surma. Okay.
And then it is also famous for jhumka.
Jhumka.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. But how about the zari work? They do very good zari work.
Yes, ma'am.
Lehenga and all that.
Lehenga and sari.
Saris, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, doesn't matter. You are a computer science person.
Yes, ma'am.
So, when did you pass out? Which year?
I passed out in 2013.
13.
Yes, ma'am.
And this year is 2022.
22.
Okay. So, what did you do in between? You studied or what did you do?
Ma'am, I started preparation in 2013 August, just after finishing my graduation. And after that, in between, sometimes I worked as freelancer in coaching institutes. And then for 1.5 years, I continued my job continuously. And again, after that, sometimes I worked as freelancer, and during exams, I used to leave that. This is how this it is.
So, you are a good writer? Do you write well?
Decent, ma'am.
You do? No, I'm just asking. I don't know about you. So, you tell me regarding education, especially Uttar Pradesh, right? It has the biggest population and a lot of women, lot of children and men. So, do you think it has had an impact, the education policy of India?
Ma'am, education policy, I would say, if you are asking about UP, then I would say it has impacted the population very much, because currently we can see most of the UP young population is moving to Bangalore, Noida and other cities to work. So we can say that skill development has happened, but yes, still the literacy rate is 69%, which is lesser than the national average. So there is more to do.
How about women? What is women's literacy average?
Women literacy average is, I'm not sure about the exact data, but it is lesser than 10%.
Even now, it's less than 10%?
Yes, ma'am.
What do they do? Do they do some, agriculture, industrial labor, or what do they do, these ladies?
Ma'am, in UP, usually women are involved in agricultural economy. This is why labor force participation rate is very less in UP, which is around 16%. So we need to work more in that regard.
In the hill state, like Bareilly is very close to Nainital and Almora and all that. So I find that most of the pictures that you show as a state, so they appear carrying headload of wood, headload of grass. So they appear to be doing very hard work. So why can't they do some mechanization, something to help these ladies?
Ma'am, there are many factors which are involved. First is UP's population is too big.
Okay.
And then reaching to the most marginalized communities is still difficult. And then there are socio-economic factors, that women are still not prepared to join the labor force or mechanized work. And
no, but I know of certain, of the hills, I'm talking about the hills. So, there I found that there are lots of these grass cutting equipment, not hand, but mechanical or even a little electrified. So you fill in some petrol and put in a battery and it starts working and it cuts very
Yes, ma'am.
fast, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And even like that, like the darati, the scythe as it is called in English, the darati.
Yes,
So you
ma'am.
cut your grass holding it like this and all that. So that has also been, put battery operated. So you can cut very easily with that and you don't have to bend
Yes,
totally all the time or sit on the floor. You can manage. So you should, as an individual, introduce these ideas to your ladies. They can do this work very well.
Yes, ma'am, you are right. Actually, this is very much needed in Indian agriculture. But the major issue there is that these equipments are very costly and most of the fields are small land holdings. So they cannot invest. In this regard, I think we should promote cooperative farming so that these individuals can
Share.
share.
Government is giving good subsidy for these instruments. They are very simple and nice. Anyway, right, sir?
Good morning, Shrishti.
Good morning, sir.
So, can you tell me the difference between a thinker, a scholar, and a philosopher?
Sir, I do not know the exact difference, but I can try.
Yes, I think philosophy is also your optional subject, right?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Sir, philosophers are basically who thinks, and then they try to find out the exact reason of this universe and then reality, and then philosophy is involved in every aspect of our life. For example, foreign policy and social philosophy. So philosophy is very wide. On the other hand, thinkers are restricted to some specific field, maybe political thinkers, social thinkers, and scholars are who are basically involved in a particular subject.
Okay, so tell me about the population control bill of Uttar Pradesh. What's your view on it?
Sir, first I should tell my view.
Yes.
Sir, I feel there are two aspects of this population policy. One is penalizing aspect, where they have in the bill it is said that those who are having more than 2 kids will not get few subsidies and will not be applicable for the government jobs. And on the other hand, there is incentivizing aspect, where they have said that people who are having 2 kids or maybe one girl child, they will get subsidy benefits, tax rebates. So in my view, I feel that at this stage in our economy and in our polity, we do not need penalizing aspect, because we have already reached 2.0 for total fertility rate, and since 1951 we have improved a lot. It was 6.0 earlier, and now we have reached 2.0. So I think there is no need of penalizing aspect. We can do better with that incentivizing thing.
So I would also like to have your opinion on CUET,
CUAT. Okay.
Common University Entrance Test. If you can point out merits and demerits of the same.
Sir, merits, I think it will be it is a good decision, because it will, first of all, it will reduce the pressure on students, because we are seeing that India is moving towards a rote learning kind of education, and various university exams and IITs and IIMs exams create pressure on students to perform there and as well as in the board examination. So in that aspect, it will have good impact on students. And demerits, I feel that again it will increase the dominance of coaching institutes. So to remove that, I feel that there should be common standards given by CBSE, which will conduct the examination, that this will be the syllabus, and so this will be the syllabus, so that even the students of marginalized communities do not feel the need of private coaching institutes.
Good. Do you know what is Sensex or Nifty?
Sir, I know, but I have very less idea of it.
Very less idea. Okay. No issues. Okay, so I would like to know, you have been trying for civil services since past many years.
Yes.
So why you wish to join civil services?
Sir, there are two reasons for it. First one is that I am passionate about it, and I feel that this is the job which gives you role to shape the society. And currently, we are seeing that India is developing very fast. So I want to be part of that development. And the second reason is personal, that my father has always encouraged me to prepare for it.
Thank you.
Srishti,
Yes.
philosophy is your subject. Now tell me how ancient Indian philosophical thought has impacted our political ideology as well as governance ethics.
Sir, in governance, I would say Indian philosophy has impacted because nowadays we are seeing Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. So this is also one of ancient Indian philosophy, which says Vasudev Kutumbakam.
Yeah.
And in foreign policy, we can say our Indian philosophy is impacting because it says our foreign policy philosophy is mutual interest and Panchsheel.
Punch.
Which is also impacted by ancient Indian philosophy. So I would say philosophy is impacting all the aspects.
Can you name few political philosophers of 20th century who have impacted very hugely, I would say, our freedom struggle?
Sir, I do not know the exact. I do not have the exact idea, but I can name 2, 3. One is Sri Aurobindo,
Yeah.
and another one. Sir, it may be Rabindranath
Okay. No,
Tagore.
it's okay. No. Now, as an administrator, how would you use your knowledge of philosophy in your work?
Sir, I would say after reading philosophy for so many years, I have found that philosophy is very logical subject. And in most of the philosophy, it is said that do not accept anything which is coming your way. First think rationally about it. So I would say that is going to help me in the administration because it will help me to think from different perspective. For example, Jaina philosophy, it says that Ananta Dharmakam Vastu, there are infinite realities and you should see things from different perspective. So I will say that in administration, I will have to think from different perspective, from the perspective of marginalized section, from the perspective of middle class, and from for the other sections also.
Good. Now, Srishti, women have been now allowed to have combat role in defense forces
Yes.
in army, and which is a very welcome decision. I see a little problem in that because our soldiers, foot soldiers,
Yes.
they mostly come from rural background, and for them taking a command from a woman maybe it's difficult for them to digest. So how do you propose to overcome this problem? I mean, it's my feeling that because
Yes.
soldiers are normally from whichever state they belong to, but they are generally from rural areas. So because they have a very strong patriarchal mindset. So taking command for women, how do you propose to overcome this?
Sir, I would say that we cannot avoid this change for so long. We have already avoided this change
Very good.
for so many years. So this is the time that we should promote sensitization and we should prepare those soldiers to accept an officer as an officer, not caring about his or her gender. So this promotion and awareness will help, though it will be slowly, but it will be organic change.
And what do you see? How women can also work towards that? They have to show by their own role. They have to, serve as a role model by their own work, by their own conduct. That will also be very important. They should become example of courage,
Yes.
leadership. What do you say about this? That's okay, no problem.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
just my last question. What is the two successful initiative in the recent times by International Solar Alliance last couple of months?
International Solar Alliance.
Just one or two very successful initiatives they have taken.
Sir, I'm not able to recall.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shrishti, you did up to 12 from Uttar Pradesh,
Yes.
and then you did graduation in the state of Tamil Nadu. Now tell me, between UP and Tamil Nadu, what is the difference that you saw in the education culture, the quality of education, the methods of teaching? Any notable differences did you see?
Sir, the major difference which I saw in the education sector, I have done my schooling in Kendra Vidyalaya, so it is basically English medium. But to connect with the students, teachers used to talk in both Hindi, English. But the major change where there I saw in Tamil Nadu, it was completely English. And then second change which I saw, that there are in Tamil Nadu, people are more enthusiastic about studies, and in UP we can say that there is still so much to do, because there are people who just send their kids to complete education till 6th, 8th or maybe 10th to so that they can start working with them. So this is the major change which I have seen.
Shrishti, you are a computer science graduate.
Yes.
Now tell me, how has computer science been helpful for rural health?
Sir, we have seen during the COVID that telemedicine has helped a lot, and we are succeeding. We are succeeding in it, and also it will help because India has very less doctor to population ratio. So computer science will be able to fill those gaps. So, and also in with regard to research and development, we saw that because of computer science and AI, artificial intelligence, we were able to make our own indigenous vaccine. So I would say that nowadays computer science and health or education sector, they all are very much interlinked.
I saw from the DAF that you had once upon a time you applied for CAPF also,
Yes, sir.
right? So I'm not asking why and what happened, but my question is, in India it is seen that CAPF, whenever there are elections and whenever there are communal riots, the Central Armed Police Force is the first to be there.
Yes, sir.
Why is it so?
Sir, I don't know the exact reason, but I feel it is because of their experience in handling those riots, and to complement the state police force, usually they are called for.
They are actually not right people for the job, because the state police is aware of the people, the criminals. They have a better intelligence. They come from outside. Somebody from northeast may, okay, 10 companies go to Bareilly, there is some problem there. So they have been living in the northeast, and suddenly Bareilly they don't even know. So they are actually not familiar with state level, I mean the local. Then why?
Sir, it is because of their professional way of handling things.
And when do you call army for communal riots?
Sorry, sir, I don't know.
You will be the DM of a district. So
Sir, can I guess?
yeah, please do it.
Sir, when the area is declared disturbed under the Armed Force Special Police Act.
Oh, that you have gone into the act. No, even without AFSPA,
Okay, sir.
situation may arise that DM can call for army.
Yes, sir.
My last question. Today, the newspaper, US has said that it's time that India moved away from its long history of non-alignment. How much do you agree with what US has said?
Sir, I do not agree with this because non-alignment has helped us earlier and it is still helping us in balancing the situation. For example, in Ukraine crisis, we are seeing there are two partners involved and both are wrong in their own way, and India is still trying to balance it. And because of this balancing act, India has huge space in diplomacy right now. So I feel we should not think about moving from non-alignment because it helps us in maintaining our strategic autonomy, and we can align with any country based on our interest, and this is how diplomacy works.
You name some eminent political personalities who were associated with Balia.
Sir, first is Chandrasekhar Singh. He was prime minister for around
All
2
right, now
months.
what was his political philosophy?
Sorry, sir, I don't know.
You studied political philosophy?
No, sir.
As part of philosophy, have you studied political philosophy?
Sir, in philosophy, I have basically read the ancient and contemporary philosophy. There is like political
My question is, do you know what is political philosophy?
political philosophy is related to governance and
Now, any other personality that you can name from
sir, from Balia, Chittu Pandey, he
very eminent,
Very
national level?
eminent.
I'm not talking about local personality.
very eminent.
Jai Prakash Narayan,
Yes, sir. Jai
was he
Prakash
associated
Narayan.
with Balia? Right now, what was his political philosophy?
Sir, I have no
Again,
idea.
you have no idea of that also. Right now, you've been working as a content developer.
Yes, sir.
What areas have you specialized in terms of content development? In a couple of areas.
Sir, I started with content developer and then I moved to content reviewer. But my specialization there was mainly international relation. First, I was making content for.
International relations.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, one of the questions that was raised was Ukraine. Now, is there any ethics to this Ukraine conflict? I mean, ethically, I'm not talking about in terms of interests, etc. In terms of ethics,
Sir,
what would you say about the Ukraine conflict?
in terms of ethics, if we analyze, I would again say that both the parties involved, Russia and Ukraine, they are wrong. And
Why? How is Ukraine wrong?
I'm not
What is the
telling
ethics?
about Ukraine. I was talking about
You're saying both the parties are wrong.
USA and
But USA
Russia.
is not a party directly.
But Ukraine was the party here which was just sandwiched between the two opponents.
Who is the conflict between?
Conflict is between Ukraine and Russia.
Are there American forces present?
No, sir.
No. All right. So, is there some moral equivalence between Ukraine and Russia in this?
So there is no moral equivalence actually.
So who is wrong?
Sir, if I would say Russia is wrong here, but
Then why does India not condemn Russia?
because at the same time US and Ukraine, they provoked Russia. Also, why India is not condemning it?
Did Ukraine invite Russia to invade them?
No, sir.
Then what do you mean by saying provoked them?
Provoking in the sense that they were applying, they had applied for NATO membership, and it was it earlier in 2008 when they started planning for it to join the NATO. Russia had warned it, though it is completely wrong because it will promote might is right philosophy.
Does Indian foreign policy reflect any ethical values, or is it purely based on very narrow self-interest?
Sir, I would say it is not narrow self-interest because in this crisis, if
Can you give me one example
Yes.
where you think moral values have determined Indian foreign policy stance? Moral values have influenced India's foreign policy approach.
sir, in Israel-Palestine conflict, we sided with.
What is the moral value involved there?
So we supported Palestine at that
Are
time.
we still supporting Palestine?
Again, we are balancing it.
What about our relationships with Israel?
Sir,
Is that not much stronger than what we have with Palestine?
Yes, sir. But recently in defense aspect, we have deepened our relationship with Israel.
Thank you.